Yeah, I mean, no, this isn't 18. We just made this all ages. We'll be watching stuff here. I haven't brought it up yet, but I will be. I think YouTube will be the go-to on this one. What do you guys think? Thank you for following. Sociopathic sheep. Right on, dude. Thank you. Thank you for following all the new followers on Twitch. Appreciate it. Let's see what this video is. Okay, here, put these on. Oh, wait, we get another follower? No, it's just playing the thing. Whoa. Do you guys hear that? That was so weird sounding. Could you guys hear that noise? Oh, you got a new one? Who is that? That's not the new one, is it? It's the one that I don't know. Well, I don't know. Let's watch the internet videos, huh?
Planning to file 120 new civil lawsuits against Diddy with even more shocking allegations. These lawsuits will apparently include allegations of child sex abuse, too. In one case, a kid as young as 9 years old. The lawsuits are also expected to reveal at least one high-profile name that was involved in Diddy's scheme and participated in the freak-offs. But for now, Diddy remains the only one charged in the case, and that's what led him to NBC in Brooklyn.
There's no way he's the only one guilty of whatever, a 9-year-old
Some
man.
of you may even be starting your own business or a new side hustle.
What was she saying?
All right, so listen up. State Farm was trying to charge me $197 for car insurance. No, thank you. I got a friend who told me about this website.
That's why I want to talk to you about our amazing sponsor, Odoo. It's a free all-in-one business management software that provides you with a range of applications that help with the day-to-day of owning a business. That's things like managing PTO, customer relations, or even different subscriptions.
PTO, paid time off?
You can try Odoo for free.
No one gets paid time off in my company.
You can also get free lifetime access to one of the apps in the Odoo suites. So click our link, odoo.com/LCnews in the description and pinned comments to try Odoo for free right now. After Diddy's arrest, he pleaded not guilty and immediately requested bail. His legal team offered a pretty sizable bail package too, saying that Diddy would put up $50 million for his release. This
You think he should get out? I think he should stay in there until the whole thing's done.
And the mothers of 2 of his children. The defense also suggested Diddy would have major restrictions on travel.
I heard Leonardo Campanile left the country, and he probably left because of something to do with this.
Who denied Diddy's bid for release. He argued the bail package was insufficient to guarantee the safety of the community or to maintain the integrity of the case. Before that, Magistrate Judge Robin Tarnofsky also denied Diddy bail, highlighting his apparent anger issues and history of substance abuse. She also voiced concern about a danger to the community or witness tampering should Diddy be released. But just this week, Judge Arun Subramanian was assigned to Diddy's case. Subramanian was nominated by President Joe Biden in 2022 and took the bench in 2023. Before that, he was a law clerk for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Subramanian's no stranger to high-profile cases either. He's also overseeing the Department of Justice antitrust case against Ticketmaster. That's the case where the government alleges Ticketmaster has an unlawful monopoly on the market.
They do.
That really came to light after the site crashed in 2022 when Taylor Swift fans rushed to get concert tickets. But back to P. Diddy. His team will make a third bid for release, this time to Judge Subramanian. In the meantime, he's still behind bars at MDC Brooklyn, and according to Diddy's legal team, the jail is notoriously dangerous and run down. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, argues there are major issues with the jail, citing violence, poor conditions, overcrowding, and even staffing issues. He also cited some startling statistics. 2 inmates have been killed at MDC since June, and at least 4 inmates have died by suicide over the past 3 years. On top of that, 6 staff members have been charged with crimes over the past 5 years. When Diddy was first arrested, he was placed on suicide watch, which, according to the DOJ's National Institute of Corrections, is, quote, supervisory precautions taken for suicidal inmates that require frequent observation. Diddy's since been taken off suicide watch, but is still being housed in a protective care unit. Actually, the same one as Sam Bankman-Fried. Bankman-Fried was convicted of fraud and money laundering last November after the collapse of his
they should be housed together.
FTX.
They're
probably
both in a separate section
naughty
of MDC.
together.
They're
That's
probably
a unit
been
for
freaking
inmates
off.
who require special protection.
Gross.
That's people like Diddy or Bankman-Fried who are high-profile inmates. But it also cares for other inmates who need protection as they assist in ongoing investigations in open cases. Now, according to some reports, Diddy has a few privileges that other inmates lack, including access to daily showers and slightly better food. In his nearly month-long
they're giving him the cop food, dude,
Diddy
which
has had
isn't
phone
even bad.
conversations with his children,
If they're
and
giving
even
him
an
better
in-person
food
visit
than the
from his family
inmates,
to
they're
take a
giving him
deeper
cop
dive
food
into
because
Diddy's
there
life behind
isn't
bars.
anything
And the
in
likelihood
between.
that he'll soon be released,
It's either
we're sitting down
the
with
jail
attorney
food
Randy
or the
Kessler.
cop food. You don't
Diddy
get
has been in the spotlight
options.
for decades.
Like, the fact that they're feeding him that is
living in mansions
huge
in
privilege.
cities, and that's what he's used to. And all
He
of a
should
sudden,
get the
he's
muck
in a
that
prison that's
everyone
been
else is
described as
getting.
horrible.
They should get
just
the
that unto
smallest
itself, is that a
trays.
major change?
Of course,
The fact that they're giving him cop food makes it so much nicer. Like, I would have been blind staying
jail
there.
is terrible for anybody.
No,
for
it
someone who's
isn't.
used to having people wait on them hand and foot and never stands in line and always
What's wrong with his
gets
tooth?
front row
Looks
and
like
gets the best table and gets
it's got
to have
diamond
the
on
exact
it.
opposite. What a life-changing moment. I mean, it's just incredible. And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent until proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we could debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or
He
get
doesn't
away,
need bond.
he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent until proven guilty?
No.
Well, yeah, but, we have to recognize there are degrees of innocent until proven guilty. When
He's
you have this much
guilty.
evidence and so
You
much
don't
stuff out
need
there.
to
Does that
innocency
affect the
and
judge's
prove it,
decision
and
whether
we
to
all
grant bond or
know.
not? You can't think as a human being the judge
There's
isn't
people
thinking,
that could
because
just
some people are more likely to be guilty than
no.
others.
I
The
mean,
system says
we
you're
don't
innocent
all
until proven
need
guilty,
to
and it's
see
sort
the
of a shame
proof. I
that
believe
he's in
it.
jail. And what if he's vindicated?
Punish him.
What if he's acquitted? Then how do you ever give him back those
If
2
he's
months
acquitted, then
of
that
incarceration?
proves
Just a lot
that
of
they
things going on.
can't
Let's
freaking
talk about that bail,
convict
because
anybody,
it
and
was
he can
denied
get away with
twice.
whatever he
Diddy
wants.
has been in jail for almost a
Because
month
he's
now
guilty,
at this point, 3 to 4 weeks.
100%.
That's
There's
quite
like
a long
no
time and
need
quite a far cry
to
from what he's used to. But that bail denial, both of the judges
Just
mentioned
off
that he
with
has
his
some major
head.
resources,
No.
that he could flee because he has the money, access to private jets, things like that. Do you think that's a valid argument that these judges are making, that he could just flee and run away?
I mean, it's a legitimate concern. No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day. Oh, they treated this guy
Who
special.
is this
we get him
guy?
bond, and now he's gone.
He's been
Let him go
treated
special.
pest. He's
Isn't that
getting
most judges' minds?
fed
On the other
the
hand,
cop
we feel cases where
food.
clients have to
Yup,
take fun sometimes.
yup.
Sometimes with his money,
He
can
should
craft
be
the solution. Years ago, it was the ankle bracelet. The ankle
treated
monitor.
the
If you had money
same
to
as
afford
anyone that
$250
gets
a month
arrested.
for the process and the technical
The homeless
details,
people, all those
you could do
people that
that.
end up jail,
And I
he
can't
should
imagine
be
there wasn't
housed
some
with them.
extreme,
He should get a
unique situation where they
cellmate
could
that
pay
does
for private
shower,
security guards to monitor, to
and he
report,
should have to deal with
It's
that.
just interesting to me that
Some
with all
guy
the money
that's
he has and all the
stinky
resources
and
he
doesn't
has,
have his own
he couldn't
food.
craft
Say,
some
hey,
solution
Petey,
that lets him be
can I
under some
get
form of house
commissary
arrest.
food?
And again,
That's where they
it sounds
should
like special
house that
treatment,
fool.
but the truth of
In
the
with
matter
a
is,
bum
to incarcerate
bum.
somebody like
Like a
him
real bum.
is expensive to all of us. We're
Street
taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't put him in general population.
What do you
where,
guys think?
Everyone wants a piece of him, and everyone wants to be his friend, and everyone.
Sorry, I
So
didn't mean to
maybe
click
some
off there.
solution where his money could help us craft. I mean, he could build his separate jail.
Yeah, why not use his money to stop human trafficking or something that you could, like, he has plenty to stop major issues. Let's
and we could keep him there.
throw him in jail,
interesting to me
keep
that
him
they sort of
there,
said, nope,
and then
we didn't
all the
treat him
money
Not like
we
everybody
get
else, but a lot
from
like
that
everybody else.
we'll put towards
Just having money
homelessness
doesn't do
or
it.
something.
So, I wouldn't want to be those judges.
Am I
It's
in
sort
a
of a no-win
game?
situation for the judge, and it sounds like
Could
they're
be.
erring on the side of caution.
But does it really matter, Zachary?
Which is keep him incarcerated for fear he
Yeah,
pleads.
dude, you
And then
see,
it's on us. This guilty person who may,
know
or this potentially guilty person
all about the
gets to go on and live their life because the judge
Diddy
let them have bond.
accusations.
It flips from he's the bad person
Deaconator.
to now the judge made a mistake. That's what judges don't want.
Just to play devil's advocate for a second, if we're going back in the timeline of Diddy, there were federal raids performed on his home back in March. So obviously he knew about it then. He could infer, okay, they're going to investigate something. And
he should have burned all the evidence back then.
Charges could be coming down the line. So if Diddy was going to run,
wrecked
he had
that
all the
gate.
time in
It
the
looked
world,
all
6
messed
months
up
between those raids and then when he was indicted to run. I mean, is that something that his defense could highlight and say, hey, you could have left?
I grew up in the suburbs, little bro.
I'm that's an excellent argument.
in the suburbs. I didn't just grow up there. I live in them. And trust me,
don't think rationally.
I'm not gonna take off the shiesty.
Often think, I can
Like,
get away
I'm
with
not
this.
in
I
the
can get away
ghetto,
with this.
and I'm not a
then
gangster,
when they
but
finally realize they can't get away with it is when they try to
that
look at
doesn't
other
mean
options.
anything. You
Yes,
can wear
it's a good argument that he
shiesty
had all
and
the
they're
time in the world
nice
to
and
try to get
comfy.
away if he knew this was coming.
You just
He
mad
should have
'cause
seen
you
it,
can't see my
and he didn't
nose.
run. That's taking the approach that we're going to trust people.
Deaconator.
And unfortunately, not everybody trusts people, and he's going to be locked up until they decide on whether he's guilty or innocent or takes a plea.
I think
But
he's
yes, that's the argument
guilty.
I'd be
There's
making
no
if I was his
question.
defense
What do you
lawyer.
guys think?
You
You
what are
guys
you afraid of?
believe
He
it?
could have left 100 times, and he
What do you
didn't.
guys think, Joe?
And he will give you any safeguards you want, and he'll pay for the safeguards, even though he shouldn't have to. He'll pay whatever it takes, so that he doesn't have to be in jail because he's innocent right now.
His defense
Because
team did
he
bring a interesting
doesn't
bail
wanna
package,
die in jail,
kind of what
and he
you're
knows
talking
that he
about, a
might
GPS
not get
monitor
out
so that people could
ever.
know where he was, a restriction on the
Because he's
people
done some
who could
pretty
come visit
horrible
him,
things.
specifically women.
Yeah,
a lot
I know
of
that
people
feeling.
were going
I've
to
been
co-sign
to
on this,
jail.
and it was going to be $50 million.
I've been there
and this
and
was
had
denied 2 times.
bail
But now
and,
there may
like,
be a
been
win
trying
for
to
Diddy,
bail out,
potentially that a new
and then had
judge
the
has been assigned
judge
to the case. Do you
heard
think
my
it's
phone
possible now that
calls
this
from
new
the
judge
jail
reconsiders and
saying
takes
as
the
soon
defense
as I
up
get
on this
bail, I'm gonna
giant
do
bail
this, that,
package?
and they
Well,
raised my
anything's
bail,
possible, right?
so I wasn't
But now
able
this
to
judge
pay
has an
it.
even harder time, I think, because the past judge
Watch what you
locked him
say
up,
on the
didn't let him
phones at
out.
the jail.
and he's still there available for trial. If the new judge lets him out on bond and something goes wrong, and this isn't the analysis that I'm proud to make, right? We shouldn't be saying, well, judges are worried about their own skin and how they look if something bad happens. And maybe this new judge has a broader view and says, you know what? If he's willing to part, and again, I don't think the money's the issue. $50 million is a high bond, but it's not a question of how bad was the crime. The bond issue is, what is the likelihood that this person would avoid trial and skip town and forfeit their bond? Most people would
Very
rather
high
go to trial than give up
because
$100,000. But he has the money and the wherewithal to say, if there's a chance I'm going to jail for the rest of my life, if they can keep the $50 million, I'm going to some country where they can't extradite me. So the amount of money is really not as telling as the fact that all these other accommodations, they can't find one that secures the judge in his mind or her mind that, okay, he's not going to be able to leave town with those restrictions in place. I'm comfortable. But, at least the lawyers know what's been turned down before, and they're getting another crack at it. You never know.
So we talked about the potential for bail, and we'll see if this new judge actually allows that. But for now, Diddy is behind bars at MDC, this Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. And
what do you guys think? You think he should get out? Do you think they should let him out? Ricky,
by all accounts,
what do you
it's
think?
not a great place to be. Not that any jail is, but the
Sure,
conditions
what?
sound
You
a
don't
little
believe
bit
that I've
worse
been to
than
jail or
maybe
what?
other jails out
I
there.
have, dude.
Do you think if he isn't granted
I'll give
bail,
you my real
his
name
team
and you
could
can look
still
up my
say, hey, let's
history and be
transfer
like,
him to
damn,
one
fool's
ahead
been
of the
arrested a
trial?
They're
lot.
going to try everything. They're going to try to transfer
Trust
him. They're
me,
going to
I've
try to
been
get
to
him out.
jail way too many times.
In a normal case where it's a
Like
high-profile
a lot,
person
bro.
or a well-funded person, the prosecution and the judge is a little bit more concerned
I don't
about
look
wrongful
old
prosecution.
enough
because
to
people
probably
that are
been
mad
to
that they're
jail
being
a
arrested for a
lot,
crime they didn't commit
but
can turn
I
around and
have.
file for malicious
And
prosecution.
I never went
It sounds like there's enough
as a juvenile.
evidence there that they
Not
can
even
argue
once.
with a straight face that we had a basis
Even
to go
get in
forward.
trouble
Right?
until
There's
as
so
an
many people
adult.
coming out of the woodwork that no one's going to say that they were malicious about this. They went after him
The
without
stuff
any
I got in
evidence, without any
trouble for
basis
is
for
at
it
least-
whatsoever.
I'm not no
But certainly there are
criminal
things
like
that can be
Diddy.
done. But the truth is, every
I
jail
like how
is
they
bad.
show the
Some jails are
pictures
worse
of
than
the
others.
jail like that
And
place
the
is
problem again
horrible.
is if you move him,
I mean,
Why
it's
is he
a
getting special
jail,
treatment? And maybe he's earned special treatment. Maybe what he's done, maybe he's given so much back to his fans and to the world and to charity that maybe there's a way that it plays out in the end. But again, to go into court and say this jail is bad, move him to another jail, is not your first argument. That's sort of the everything else failed. Judge, let me at least earn my keep and get something better for my client than this horrible place that he's in. And they are going to be saying it over and over and over. Innocent till proven guilty. You're putting an innocent man not just in jail, but in a place that's not just a holding place. It's a place that's terrible, especially for him, or for anybody.
Right now, Diddy is in a protective care unit.
There's a lot of
this
people
jail
being held there, though, so why aren't they getting released?
What do you think, though? If he was moved to general population, would
they
he
not
actually
lose portion
be at any sort of risk?
There's no way. They can't move him to general population. Would he be at risk?
They could.
Sure, he'd be at risk. There's so many people that have nothing to lose, right? They're
Picture this.
He'd do well in general pop.
Videos, wondering why
he could buy his way to royalty with ramen noodles.
Or change in the ways.
They're going to be in jail the rest of their life. They've got nothing to. They want their 15 minutes of fame. They were friends with Diddy, or they hurt Diddy, or they killed Diddy, or they did. I mean, there's so many, people
I
in jail.
gotta rape Diddy in jail.
You can't put him
he
there.
likes
Plus,
it. Yeah, he's super
you want to be
gay.
the judge that makes the decision, or the prosecutor that makes the decision.
That's
or the law
what would
enforcement
probably happen. A bunch
officer
of
or the
people
warden
would want to
that
get
makes the
down with him
decision
because they heard
to move
he's
him out
freak.
of isolation and into
In the
unit where there are other
sheets,
people,
in
and then
the
something
beats.
bad happens.
What do you guys say?
Can you spell lawsuit?
I gotta get back
and
to
that
the video.
person, aside from all the public anger and anxiety,
Back to the
clearly there'd be a
video.
lawsuit against the person for doing that, and they'd have to defend themselves. Even if they win, lawsuits are expensive, they're costly, get you the kind of media attention you don't want. I just don't see how they put him in with general population or other inmates at all.
Obviously,
I could.
Diddy wants to leave jail because
do some
it's
justice.
not a
He'd
desirable
definitely
place to
get-
go. But as he's preparing for
What do
a
you call
future
it?
trial, because he has pleaded not guilty to these
I
charges,
don't know. They'd treat
with
him like
being
the
behind
piece of
bars
crap he
makes things
is.
a bit more difficult because his defense can't just drop over to his house, or he can't FaceTime them with more info. It kind of adds a layer there of difficulty.
I bet
Yeah,
you they
logistics
get
are
him
important. I mean, it's very
access to a
hard
phone
to work
anytime
with
he
a client
needs
who's
in jail. If they're
to
giving
try to
him
help
cop
prepare for
food,
their own defense. You're always worried
better
about
food,
people overhearing things.
they're letting him
You've got to
use the
schedule
phone
it.
whenever the
lawyer's
hell
got to
he
get
wants
through the
and all
security
that.
mechanisms to get into the jail. You don't want to trust the telephone line, so you've got to be in person. Much easier to prepare your own defense. And there was a case you may recall, the Young Thug case in Georgia, where
If he can't
the lawyer
trust the
actually got
telephone
help
in
and
the
he
jail,
got
it's
put in
because he's
jail.
saying stuff he
said,
doesn't
"I'll
want
be
to
in the
get him in
cell. I'll be in there
trouble.
with my client, so we can at least be preparing together." There's something about being able to prepare. And why should the client, the innocent until proven guilty defendant, have to prepare on the state's terms? If you're going to prepare a defense, you should be able to do it where it's best for you, where it's most comfortable for you.
No.
And that is a big hiccup. And I don't know that it's an appealable issue because you've got two competing claims. One is the right to a proper defense, but also you've got to make sure that the person doesn't escape justice. So, but certainly that's another argument the lawyers are going to make.
We need to
even if it's just a furlough,
off
even
with
if it's
his
just
head, dude.
some time out of jail,
I wouldn't feel bad if
for
they
the
beheaded
ability to prepare his
Diddy.
own defense.
We're like, yeah, he hurt a
that's
lot of
maybe an option
people.
they're
We
gonna
just
come up
need to
with. Maybe
cut his
some
head off.
hybrid,
Okay. And then they
compromise
showed it on
result in
TV or
the
something. I'd
bail
watch it.
hearing.
You also
I'd be all
mentioned
about
phone
it.
calls
I don't wanna
and
go
phone
in
lines, which
person
got
and
me
watch
thinking,
it
because oftentimes in
live.
cases we do hear
That's
in
for
court
sure.
some recorded jail phone calls, whether it's with the family members or
They should
a friend,
record all of
someone, and there
them.
could be
They're
some sort of incriminating information
capped
that was
phone
revealed
lines.
on these phone calls. Or we also hear about a cellmate or someone in jail who overheard or read a diary, things like that. So do you think the prosecution is going to be keeping a close eye on Diddy while he's behind bars to see if there's anything that could help their case?
They
Absolutely.
should.
And people, as careful as they are, often let things slip. They might say, "I can't really talk because I'm on a recorded line, but I want you to know, whatever he says is dangerous." And if I was his lawyer, I'd say, "You don't talk on the phone, much less
They
talk
have
about your case,
recording
your
things
situation."
in your cell
It's
there.
just dangerous to do that. Even and he should be able to talk privately to his counsel to be able to
If
say,
you scream in the middle
"No,
of
it
the
might
night, you'll
look like
hear
I did
someone
something
come on
wrong
and
because
go,
I
"Are
was
you
in this place at
dying?
this time."
Do we need to
Well, if he
send
doesn't testify, the
assistance? And
prosecution
they'll
would
go,
never know
no.
that. If they overhear
He
that,
does look like
if he has to
Dr.
say it
Phil,
through
dude.
a phone line that could
So
be
much
recorded,
live to die. You're
it's just-
so
it's putting a real,
true. That whoever
hardship
that
on the
attorney
defense
is talking about
It's
Diddy
interesting
looks
to hear your side of the story
like
too, because
Dr.
we've
Phil's
heard so
brother or
much from the
something.
prosecution about all of the
Dr.
evidence they have
Phil's
against Diddy and not as
dad.
much from the defense. But again, you bring up a good
Uncle.
point. He is innocent until proven guilty. So right now he is an innocent man. But as far
No,
as the
I wouldn't
evidence that
say
the
he's
prosecution does
innocent.
have,
I would say
these
nobody
charges that they're
knows what
claiming
he's
they have a lot
guilty
evidence
of.
for, testimony
He
from
isn't
witnesses. Do you
innocent,
think they have a
lady.
strong case?
Gosh,
Sounds like they have a
don't
strong
use
case,
those words.
But whether you have 100 pounds of
He
evidence
hasn't been
or 1
convicted
ounce of
yet,
evidence,
but is he
gets
really
the same
innocent?
rights. He doesn't
I don't
he
think
shouldn't
so.
get treated differently
Like,
and
I
left
don't
in jail
think
because
he's
there's
innocent.
more evidence against him than there
Yeah,
is
you can get
to the guy in the
falsely
next cell.
accused, and maybe
So,
one of the
I'll tell you,
charges he
prosecutors
beats, but he's guilty
good
of
prosecutors aren't going to
stuff.
bring a case that they don't think they can win. You know, when you have a celebrity, it's a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, you know, everybody wants to be the one that prosecuted the
This
guy
is
that
what
nobody
they've
could
been
take down, and
allowing
they did it, and they brought
celebrities to
down
do.
the
I
king.
think it has
Maybe that's
something to do
for
with
somebody's ego.
torturing
You'd think,
kids and
hopefully,
babies and
instead,
stuff,
prosecutors
and
are
they
thinking,
like
not
kill
only do we have to be
kids,
careful that we don't ever convict or prosecute an innocent
like
person.
kids
If we
that
prosecute
they
this innocent
consider
person and we're wrong,
orphans, or like
there's going to be payback.
whatever,
and it's
they
gonna be
take them
bad.
down in that
We're gonna be held
dungeon
accountable.
and
You know,
they
a lot of times where prosecutors could say,
scare
I
them
could
to
flip a
death,
coin. I'm not sure we can
as long as
convict or
they're
not,
under
but even if
8
we
years
try
old,
to try
and
this
then they
case,
extract their blood and
what's the harm?
drink
They
it
shouldn't
because
think
of
like
that
They should think,
adrenochrome drug.
we can win this beyond a
I know
reasonable
you guys
doubt. And I'm
have heard
hoping
it.
that these prosecutors are thinking,
I believe
with the
Diddy
evidence we
was
have, certainly we can prove this beyond a
into
reasonable doubt.
that,
A jury
into
could do
producing
anything. A jury could say
adrenochrome, and
they
the
don't
only
believe
way to
us, or
get
they don't
it
want to put
is
him in jail, or they
to
don't want to find him guilty.
scare a
But
kid
it
so
sounds like we
bad
have
that
enough
they release
from what they're saying
adrenaline
to
and then
everybody. But
kill
again,
them
you know,
while
one Monday
that's in
morning
their blood,
quarterbacking,
so
we're
that
looking
you
from the
get
outside.
the
You really can't judge a
adrenaline,
case unless you've been in
blood,
the courtroom, seen the evidence,
which is
through the rules
horrible
of
because you
evidence,
have
and then
to
make a decision. So
scare
I'm
a
not going
kid
to
to
comment
death
on
and then
do
kill
they have a
him
good
at
case,
the
do they have a
peak.
bad case.
I
I'm
don't
hoping
want
they're
to
doing
think
their
about
job,
that.
and
People
they're not bringing a
do
case that they
stuff
don't
like
think
that,
they can
though.
win.
It's
That's why
important to
it's
note that P. Diddy
an
has
idea
pleaded
in
not
my
guilty
mind
to all the
because
charges
someone's
against
done
him.
it.
And
I
after
think.
his arrest, his attorney Mark Agnifilo released a statement
Otherwise,
reading in part, quote, Sean Diddy Combs is a
I don't
music
know why
icon,
I'm
self-made
thinking about
entrepreneur,
crazy stuff
loving
like that. I
family
would
man, and proven
never,
philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children and
that
working
what you
to
call it?
uplift the black community. He's an imperfect person, but is not criminal. To his credit, Mr. Combs has been nothing but cooperative with the investigation.
Has
Please
he?
reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These
Okay.
are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. Diddy is due back in court next week for an upcoming hearing. Reporting for Long Crime,
What do you
I'm
guys think?
Sierra Gillespie.
You guys think he's
If you're
innocent?
not making
Do you guys think
$158,000 per
that
year, but
he
you
deserves to be like looked as innocent? Do you think we shouldn't be judging like, oh, he probably hasn't done anything wrong? You're probably right. He probably is cooperating. Do you guys believe any of that garbage? I don't. I definitely do not. I'm gonna play some more stuff, of course.
like to,
Just
I strongly encourage you to start a bookkeeping.
That was 8 new dude tells of the wife inside a violent New York City jail. Oh, that's duh. Let's do... What one should I pick next? You guys have a preference? Anybody in here? Is there anybody in here who has a preference or wants to see me pick something? Sorry. What about this one? Just a bit and tease over past trauma. That might be interesting. Should we check that one out or something else? What do you guys think? I'll keep going down, see what others. In 2000, what you guys want to see her predict it? Does that sound cool? Should we watch the clip? Or what do you guys think? Anybody in here have a preference? No preference. I'm just gonna watch one then. We'll watch something else. is that? Garbage is what it is. That'd be nice. Ooh. Let's see this one. What's this all about?
Rapper Diddy is named in another civil lawsuit, but this time it is his son that is the main defendant. A woman accuses Christian King Combs of sexually assaulting her on a yacht. We are going to break down this latest legal action.
He's probably
as
just
Sean
bad
Combs
as
remains
dad.
embroiled in an apparent sex trafficking investigation. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We told you just the other day, right here on Sidebar, that the attorney who filed one of these bombshell lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs on behalf of his client, a former Diddy producer named Rodney Jones, would likely be filing another suit against Combs' son, Christian, and that has just happened. Yes, in fact, the yacht incident, which we're going to get into, was mentioned in Jones's lawsuit against Diddy, with Jones claiming in the complaint that he had personal knowledge that Christian drugged and sexually assaulted a woman. And a footnote was included that a complaint would be forthcoming. Now, at the time, I was wondering if Jones would be the one suing Christian. After all, he already sued Christian's brother and Diddy's other son, Justin. But I was struggling to figure out what would be his cause of action against Christian. Well, it turns out that Jones is not suing Christian. It is actually the woman who was allegedly assaulted by Christian, and she is being repped by Jones's lawyer. I will explain. So first, this development comes almost 2 weeks after Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles were raided by Homeland Security investigators.
I never heard
part
about
of a
this.
sweeping sex trafficking investigation by the Southern District of New York, or at least that's what it's being reported. That's what sources from law enforcement are indicating. Now, Diddy's two sons, Justin and Christian, they were seen in handcuffs outside of that LA home during the raid. They weren't under arrest. They were merely detained while officers were assessing the situation and going into the home. But Diddy, Justin, and Christian, they have all been named in these very big lawsuits. But remember, that is civil. That is the civil arena. None of them have been arrested or charged with any crime related to this apparent criminal investigation. But our analysts here on Sidebar expect that at least one arrest will be coming soon. But now we fast forward to Thursday, when attorney Tyrone Blackburn, the man already representing Rodney Jones, filed a civil complaint on behalf of his client, Grace O'Markey. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing her last name, but I believe it is O'Markey. Grace O'Markey in Los Angeles Superior Court, accusing 26-year-old Christian Combs of drugging her and sexually assaulting her in December of 2022 when she was working in a charter boat in St. Martin. So according to the lawsuit, O'Markey says that she had been working as a steward, providing food and drinks on that yacht for a 12-hour period. And she was 25 years old at the time. She believed that the trip would be a, quote, wholesome family excursion, but says it, quote, turned into a hedonistic environment, even describing rampant drug use amongst sex workers and celebrities who came on board. She believes that the alcohol on the yacht had been laced with drugs because she says women would have one drink and then almost immediately pass out or start falling over. This is, by the way, something that it was also alleged in Jones's lawsuit, that Combs would spike the drinks of different people.
Why would you want people that
Combs,
messed up?
Markey says that Christian Combs had been staying at a villa on the
don't have
shore,
fun when you're
but that he
out
would
of
come
it.
onto the yacht
Come on.
in the evening to party. And on December 28,
guess they have
2022,
fun.
Christian reportedly arrived very
But how
intoxicated.
do they not
and then
accidentally
proceeded
get
to
drugged by
pressure
someone
O'Markey
else?
to take shots of tequila.
If they're hanging around with a bunch
She
of
did.
weirdos like that.
Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more in the yacht's makeshift studio. O'Markey alleges that Christian kissed her neck, kissed her face, as he groped her legs, breasts, and private areas. O'Markey reportedly told Christian, quote, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. If I want to do this, then I will, "You don't touch my legs like that." Markey then says that she told Christian she couldn't stay with him unless it was approved by a supervisor, all of whom she knew would be asleep at the time, so this was a way for her to get out of the situation. She claims that Christian said, "Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now." Well, Markey then says she responded with, quote, "Well, you can take your hand off my ass for the first thing." Markey says that she tried to go back to her work, but Christian found her again, wanted her to find him a place to sleep for the night. So she ended up taking him to the cinema room for the yacht, which doubled as a place for people to sleep. And she claims that is when Christian blocked her and groped her, took off his clothes, tried to force her to perform oral sex on him. She says that she was able to fight him off until someone came in. Now, the lawsuit goes on to say that O'Markey told the yacht captain what happened the very next day, but he didn't believe her, didn't do any sort of real investigation. She says the captain retaliated against her for months after the alleged assault, before ultimately firing her in May of 2023. Now, aside from her account, aside from a potential other witness, right, the person that allegedly walked in on this, what proof is there that this happened? Well, she reportedly has photos of the bruises that she says were caused by this event with Christian Combs. But she also claims that in that studio, during that first interaction at the time, was Rodney Jones, that former Diddy music producer I mentioned, the one who is suing Diddy. He's known as Little Rod Jones. Remember, he had been basically living with Diddy while the two worked on his latest album. As we discussed on previous sidebars, Jones made multiple allegations against Diddy in his own lawsuit, saying that there was rampant drinking, drug use, sexual assault during Diddy's parties. He claims that he was groped by Diddy, that he was the victim of sex trafficking as he was forced to engage in sex acts with sex workers.
Gross.
He even claims that Diddy groomed him for homosexual sex and facilitated for him to be sexually abused by actor Cuba Gooding Jr. He also claims that there are hours of audio and video footage
to be
documenting
hit on by one
Diddy's
of those
alleged
dudes. I would have
crimes
cut
and
off their
misconduct.
ween, dog.
According to
Like,
Miss
come at
O'Markey,
me.
Jones
They would have been
taped
like,
this event with her. Yes. The lawsuit provides transcripts of audio recordings, and these audio recordings purportedly show, or you can hear, kissing sounds,
Gross.
her telling Combs not to touch her, her allegedly asking about whether she was drugged. Now, we haven't heard these tapes here on Law and Crime yet, but if they are what they purport to be, that is a huge piece of evidence. And remember, when we're talking a civil case, when we're talking lawsuits, the burden of proof is much lower than a criminal case. It's just preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not that this happened. So the civil suit accuses Christian of assault, battery, sexual assault, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. They're a big part of this lawsuit. She goes into the mental anguish that she has gone through, the emotional harm that she has suffered as a result of that. It's important in order to prove damages. And by the way, she is claiming unspecified damages, so she hasn't put a number amount on it. But Diddy, let's go back to him. He is also named as a defendant. He is accused of aiding and abetting Christian's behavior, as well as having premises liability because he was the leaseholder of the yacht. Now,
I'm sorry, guys. Here you go.
Now, premises liability means that you have a duty to keep people on your property safe from injuries. We actually saw a lot of that same kind of theory in the Jones lawsuit when he was talking about this shooting that happened at Chalice Studios, and the owners and occupiers of that studio should just be as responsible as the people who allegedly engaged in that shooting that he was present for. Now, by the way, not sure if these new allegations could play a role in a future federal criminal prosecution of Combs. We're talking so much about the investigation into them. It could be that this is just an isolated incident here and could not be part of a sex trafficking charge. Although I do wonder if this Christian Combs incident or alleged incident could be part of a potential RICO or racketeering charge. As I mentioned on a previous sidebar, when I laid out potential charges that Diddy could face, if we are talking about conspiracy to violate the RICO statute, RICO organized crime, that's what I'm talking about here, that there was a criminal enterprise, to prove that, you would need to show that there was an agreement to break the law, there was an agreement to have this criminal enterprise, and that there were steps or overt acts that were taken in furtherance of that criminal enterprise. Overt acts don't even have to be crimes. They could just be events. They could be things that happen. So could this be an example of an overt act? Could this be an overt act to further this enterprise of illegal sex and power? Could be a stretch. Yes, just something that came to my mind. Now, Miss O'Markey, her attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, said after this lawsuit was filed, quote, "Like father, like son, it gives us no joy or pleasure in filing this suit against Christian Combs, who has clearly adopted his father's pattern and practice of depravity."
Oh, yeah.
So far, there has been no response from Christian or his attorney at the time of this lawsuit. But a little side note about Tyrone
Christian
Blackburn,
shouldn't even
the
have an
attorney
attorney. Look,
representing
his
Miss
dad
O'Markey
has
and Mr.
money to pay
Jones.
for it.
United States District Court Judge for the Southern District of New York, Denise Cote, had some very harsh words for Mr. Blackburn and has even submitted a referral to the New York Federal Court Grievance Committee, claiming issues with Blackburn in 5 cases. In her order, she writes, quote, "Significant resources have been spent by judges of the court and defendants named in actions he has filed to address glaring deficiencies in his filings. A referral to this court's grievance committee is warranted." Judge Cote goes on to write, quote, "A reasonable inference from Blackburn's pattern of behavior is that he improperly files cases in federal court to garner media attention, embarrass defendants with salacious allegations, and pressure defendants to settle quickly." She goes on to write, "Indeed, his submissions to this court have been rife with disturbing allegations against the defendants and defense counsel." So the big theme here is that he allegedly files lawsuits in the wrong jurisdictions and courts, and even allegedly called a defense attorney, quote, "a disgusting racist."
Okay.
Now, this is being reported by
kinda
Billboard.
funny.
And in fact, Blackburn wrote an email to Billboard responding to Judge Cote's order saying, quote, "Not sure how this is at all relevant to Rodney Jones's case or any other case I have. This will not have any impact on my ability to proceed in Mr. Jones's case. Although Judge Cote's decision was a referral to the SDNY's grievance committee and not a sanction, I plan on appealing the decision." But remember, the Jones lawsuit was filed in the Southern District of New York, a federal court. So it does seem to have some impact, if you ask me. And look, while we don't know the specifics of these allegations, they do come on the heels of other criticism from other lawyers. After Blackburn filed the lawsuit on behalf of Mr. Jones, Combs' attorney, Sean Hawley, alleged that Blackburn ignored basically exonerating evidence. The quote was, "Our attempts to share this proof with Mr. Jones' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Mr. Blackburn refuses to return our calls." Hawley goes on to say, "We will address these outlandish allegations in court and take all appropriate action against those who make them." Then the attorneys for Universal Music Group, one of the defendants who are also being sued by Rodney Jones for their alleged participation and facilitation of the abuse and trafficking claimed by Jones, they argued that the claims were so, quote, "offensively false" that one of these attorneys, Donald Zakarin, wrote, "A license to practice law is a privilege. Mr. Blackburn, plaintiff's lawyer, has misused that license to self-promote, gratuitously, falsely, and recklessly accusing the UMG defendants of criminal behavior." So a lot of back and forth that we're seeing right here. And again, to be clear, everything that Diddy and his sons are facing are accusations. They haven't even been criminally charged. These are civil lawsuits. There has been no finding by a judge or a jury that they are liable at this point. Having said all of that, this is a very significant development, and we will see where it goes next. That is all we have for you here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. As always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. Speak to you next time.
Will ya? I don't know if you will, really. You might. I don't know, guys. It seems a little fishy to me. I don't need it. I don't need. What do you guys think of the Diddy thing? Should I play another video? Should I pick a different one? That was that one. Sun stuff. What was that? Unfiltered raw. Let's see what's on the news right now.
To get flashlights, batteries, as well as food that didn't need to be refrigerated. So
where is this from?
How to do that, and I
breaking news, events, and stories across the nation. Limited commentary, raw, unfiltered, no opinion, experience. Live now from Fox.
Is there anything else that you think we should know out there, our Live Now viewers, about how the city of Augusta is now recovering? Is it looking like things are on the trend upwards?
Things are currently on the trend here.
Why is your lipstick all over your face?
So much of the community coming
Seriously, what the heck? Does she not have someone help her with that? Because it's all over her face.
As well as Governor McMaster,
or at least it looks like it's all over her face.
South Carolina and Georgia
the hell's up with
been
her?
Able to make visits and
Lipstick,
provide
dude.
any
You guys see
needs
that?
for the people of this community. So it's
Or
been
am I
great
just being
having
mean?
them around here and
I
finding
think it
ways to
looks
help
weird.
serve everyone.
Like she's
and
got
of course, I've been hearing
something
from
all
other
over
people
her
that
mouth
FEMA
that's
has been finally
smearing
approving
it.
assistance claims after originally denying them a few days earlier.
Like seriously,
so I'm glad
what
that
the
people are
heck,
finally getting
dude?
that kind of
She's got
assistance to recover from the
messed up
storm.
place.
Certainly, we're hoping for a sense of normalcy to return soon. Francis Floresca, they are an independent freelance reporter. They're on the ground in Augusta, Georgia. We hope you get your power back soon. I know you said you're using a generator, but again, normalcy is what we're all hoping for. And again, but the people to be safe.
Have she got that camera? Is it battery powered?
Here on Live Now.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So again, we've been watching, tracking the effects of all of these storms as they have made landfall, and then what happens in the aftermath. Of course, we know President Biden, Kamala Harris, and former President Donald Trump all on the ground in those southern states this week to assess the damage that was left behind by Hurricane Helene. I do want to bring up a tweet here as well. This is one from this week from Governor Brian Kemp. He said they continued to visit those communities there that were in the direct path of Hurricane Helene as teams work to provide supplies.
Look at all these people just sucked into their phones. They're not even listening to him. The big fat guy right here and this guy. I guess that's it. Just these two guys. Oh, commercial break, huh? What kind of commercial is this? I know. What? You guys seen this on the news? What? Man. Why? I know where that is. This must be local ads. From the Milwaukee. Oh, this is Austin. Okay. 5 New York. Los Angeles. They all say the same stuff. I mean, these are scripted news channels. All of them are. They act like, yeah, I mean, they have local news in each one, but I promise you they like pretty much have a scripted stories and they all just read the same stuff. there isn't like, you know, really good. They definitely silent stories and only improve certain stuff. Oh man. Commercial break, huh? I guess I'm gonna find something else. Boring. What do you guys think? Yeah, everyone left.
Are taking a live look here at our X-Rad radar system as if you look over toward Mexico at the bottom left-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, they're about
tropical
to be
storm
with
Milton
that thing.
expected to grow, strengthen into Hurricane Milton later on today, and then become a major Category 3, possibly Category 4 hurricane as it makes landfall along the Gulf Coast of Florida on Wednesday. Again, we are very far out, so a lot of that could change, but we're sticking with the National Hurricane Center and bringing everyone updates as soon as we get them. In the meantime, so many people in several states are still picking up from Hurricane Helene. The storm made landfall just about a week and a half ago in Florida and then moved through other states like Georgia, the Carolinas, Tennessee, a lot of different impacted places there as a result. I do want to bring in David Howell, the Cajun Navy Relief Supply Director, to talk a little bit more about how they are helping. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, first off, I do want to ask, for folks who are not too familiar with the Cajun Navy, can you explain who you are and what you do?
Well, so the Cajun Navy is a loose moniker term that we're using. There are actually several groups that use that term. The organization I'm with is Cajun Navy Relief, and we were founded right after the floods in 2016. We come in and we are a force multiplier for the EOCs and the areas that are affected. We work with the governments when we can, but sometimes you just have to go out there and channel that Louisiana spirit and help out where you're needed.
And you kind of touched on it right there, but why did you and the Cajun Navy Relief decide, look, we need to get out there. We need to help so many people who have been impacted in these specific states.
Yeah, I'm gonna head to bed, guys.
So,
I don't know if anybody's watching this, but if
Carolina,
you are, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut it out.
24 hours after
and
made
give me
impact,
some sleep.
I got quickly out and made a call to our teams, letting them know that this impact is just horrible.
And I'm tired.
What we are
And
going through is horrendous.
we'll hear about this later, I'm sure. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. And come back in the morning. I do music hour tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I do game streaming as well. But come back, follow my account, whatever. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Are you
Have a
concerned
great
at this
night.
point about